All right, you guys, welcome back to some more Happy Mayor. We ended off where we had just kind of gone down the rabbit hole. We kind of started to see what really can happen in our dreams. How vivid can these get? Maya essentially created a dream for Saki. Saki is now kind of living out the life that she really wanted. She really wants to end up with Toru, who has always kind of seen her as a sister, and she wants to be something more to him. So we kind of explored that and saw how interesting that could be. How it was just merely an illusion, something that seemed happy and bright, but in reality, we were watching and saw kind of the behind the curtains. So right now, we are in that kind of dream with Saki and Toru. They are sitting on the sofa, apparently. And we're going to kind of see how the rest of this plays out because this is not real as far as I know. I mean, it's just a dream, right? That's being created by Maya. And there can be some pretty bad consequences if you're willing to really get into that too much. If you're willing to accept something that's fake as reality, there's very bad consequences, at least that they've teased, but maybe we'll see what those are. Saki, it's getting late, so you should head back. Even through the curtains, you could tell that it was dark outside, but Saki let out a quiet moan and leaned against Toru's shoulder. She wanted to say something, but she was hesitating. Toru knew that too, so he became strangely tense and spoke a little too quickly. If you have Takahara-san come and get you so late again.
今日は高原さんを呼ぶと大変なことになるわよ。
I mean, I don't blame you, I wouldn't want to call her either, but... Saki finally spoke. Oh, then should I walk you? But Saki shook her head as she continued to lean on him. Toru tilted his head in confusion.
トールちゃんのところに来てるって言ってないの。
Didn't say you were coming over here today, huh? Toru had been expecting something from the way Saki was acting, but he hadn't expected that, so he
今
paused.
日は別の友達の家に泊まりに行くって伝えてあるから。だから。
Saki didn't have to finish that last sentence. Toru froze for a moment, but then reached to pet Saki's head, which had been resting on his shoulder. Why do you push me?
トールちゃんがいつまで経っても何もしないから仕方ないじゃない。
That is kind of fair. I do feel like he doesn't really make the first move on much. It was true that he hadn't done anything. Their childhood days aside, from as far back as he could remember from the time they had become boyfriend and girlfriend, they had never so much as kissed. And as a result, she cornered him. Seemingly troubled, Toru sighed to calm himself down. I thought we could at least wait until you graduated. Saki took his hand in response. He wanted to wait for a few more months. That was all.
別にいつでもよかったのに。
Yeah, okay, well, Toru would have cared. I think she cares too. I mean, clearly, like, she's imagining this whole scenario because she does care and wants him to, like, finally return affection, you know? But having come this far, it wasn't like Toru could say, so let's wait until next year.
それでも今日もう泊まっていくから。
Right next to Toru, Saki stared into his eyes. Oh no, when you get the eyes staring, you know things are going places. Her own were watery. She was putting on a brave front too and tried to keep her hands from shaking. Or she's about to cry. Sounds like she's like... Oh. Do it properly. We know what that means. Don't need to explain that. That can only mean one thing. Oh gosh, am I gonna have to censor this? Saki put her hands around Toru's back and the two of them embraced each other. Then, like the turn of a page in a manga, Saki was now lying in bed. Okay, thank goodness. There's no nudity as far as I can tell. We're good, guys. We're good. Toru leaned over her. Below his arms was Saki, waiting with her face full of hope and nervousness. In response to that name, Oh, we have our first choice. So this isn't me, or I accepted it. So I have kind of looked at the route order you guys kind of gave me. I do need to get the bad ending first, and to get the bad ending, I need to accept it. So this is a dream. You got to remember that. So like if I'm accepting it, I'm really diving into the dream, and you don't want to do that. Don't dive into dreams. If you start accepting them, I think you really get sucked in and you get stuck there. You're gonna have to censor that for sure. I sealed Saki's mouth with a kiss. I felt Saki's soft lips make contact with mine. Hot breath spilled from the corners of my mouth.
トールちゃんトールちゃん
She said my name as though it was spilling from her lips. I kissed her again in response. Yes, that is what I wanted to do, even I had always wanted this. Why didn't I do it? I'm sure there was a reason. Huh, why was that? Completely unable to remember, I ran my hands along Saki's body. The body I had taken care not to touch for so long was soft and smooth.
そのまだね
This is wrong. This is wrong. She tried to cover them with her arms while I slipped past her and reached for her bra.
ダメ
I ran my hands from her cheeks to her chin and from her neck to her mouth. Saki trembled each time she felt my touch. A sweet smell came from Saki's body. This isn't real. Abort. It was like honey and sweet. So not only that, she also smelled like trees. Maybe it was some sort of body wash. Wow, they're being very descriptive here. The smell made me dizzy.
トールちゃん
Saki. Saki put her hands behind my neck. We kissed as we called out each other's names. A meltingly sweet black tea scented kiss. It's because it's not real. A sweet aroma. The scent of a dense forest. She was in front of me and looked up at me with moist, watery eyes. Is this Saki? Is this still Saki's dream, or is this a dream we're having and then we're finally accepting it? I think that might be what's going on here. I'm not too sure, though. This game confuses me.
一緒だよね二人で一緒にいられるんだよね
She held
ど
me
こ
tight.
にも行かないよね
Unable to answer, I sought after Saki. Wrapped up in that sweet aroma, I felt only a desire to seek Saki. Not just my head, it felt like my whole body was dizzy. I was unable to tell the difference between me and Saki and the air in the bed and the smell anymore. My surroundings grew dark and I couldn't see well. I smelled nothing but the scent of that deep forest, unable to sense Saki's presence. Merely wrapped in a sweet, gentle air, I sank. Oh, this is getting interesting. Interesting. Oh boy. Wrong decision. That would be a bad decision for sure. To be continued. Well, that was definitely the bad ending for sure.
Hapymaher
Okay, let me pause real quick. I'm going to get back to where we were and we're going to make a different decision because clearly that's not where we want to end off, you know? Okay, so we're back to where we were. So we clearly just accepted it, right? That was kind of the option that put us down this dark path and was really creepy because it was actually Maya, and that was not strange at all. But we're going to say this isn't me because this is not the ending we want. We don't want it like this. Maybe there's going to be a Saki route, but it isn't going to be like this, okay? We're going to say nada, no bueno. This isn't me. The instant I felt that, the scene before my eyes fell apart. Next thing I knew, I'd been thrown violently to the floor. No, it seemed like I had been knocked down from somewhere on high. I will say, though, I really like novels that do it this way, where you're kind of, like, progressing through the story, and you have to make decisions along that, and you can kind of go off branches, like, to get different endings. Is that what you guys call a ladder kind of style? So, a ladder of choices? I kind of like that because it's like you could keep walking up the ladder. You could like be like, oh, I'm going to go off to this ladder, you know, and then you'll have an ending. Or you could just stay on the ladder and keep going up. I like stuff like that. Next thing I knew, I'd been thrown violently to the floor. No, it seemed like I'd been knocked down from somewhere on high. The place I was in hadn't changed. I was still in the dream, in my room overgrown with the nightmare plants. The plants were gathering where I'd just been and were trying to form into the shape of a human. If I had wished for it, I was sure I could have forced them away. But I was thrown out because I thought I didn't belong there. I sat up and looked at the bed where Saki was sleeping and being slowly entangled by those plants. It must have hit the ground pretty hard because pain ran through my shoulder when I sat up. But I couldn't worry about that right now. Roses slowly began to bloom all around Saki. At this rate, she would have been swallowed up by the plants. Are we back in reality right now then? Is this like kind of like seeping into reality? I'm not too sure. We could possibly just still be in the dream. White petals continued to change red as if someone was lathering paint on them. I managed to stand up and tried to grab her, but the instant I touched her, several sharp thorns stabbed in my hands. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Although she was entangled with many more binds than me, Saki didn't have a scratch. It felt like they were trying to tell me that I had no right to be here anymore after I chose not to be with her. Yeah, but you want to... If he does even want to be with her, that was not the right circumstances to do so. Gradually, those vines formed a figure that matched my shape. From my thorn-pierced hands, blood had started dripping down my fingers and onto the floor. Although it was a dream, the pain was quite real. I almost pulled my hands back, but even though I've held back all this time, what the hell do you think you're doing? In more ways than one. Paying no heed, I kicked me, leaning over Saki in the side as hard as I could. Though it was the size of a person, my kick knocked the plants away from the bed as if it were any other overgrown houseplant. The even-sized portion fell to the side as it tore away from the segments that were crawling along the sheets. The leg I used to kick it was all cut up, and soon my pant leg and sock were stained a bright red. Gosh, yeah, have you guys ever fell into like a bush of roses? I had one by the apartments I was living in when I was younger, and like I kind of fell back into it, and I had like all the thorns that were like stuck in my body, and I had to like pull them out. It hurt. Let's just say that, okay? The sweet smell wafting from the room gave me an ominous feeling, so I ignored the fallen plant person and tended to Saki. Saki, get a hold of yourself. Get up, Saki. It was hard to stand on my bloodied legs, so I knelt on the bed with my other leg as I held Saki. As it was before, Saki wasn't hurt at all. I was the only one the roses had injured. Saki, hey, Saki.
トールちゃん、あれ、どうしてまだ。
Saki opened her eyes with a shocked expression.
これ、トールちゃん、どうしてそんな怪我してるの？
I don't know. Just got poked by a few plants. Don't worry about it. It's just a flesh wound. Saki stiffened as she noticed that I was bleeding and saw the vines moving around the room. I didn't know what to say. Not wanting to see Saki's face, I held her against my chest.
トールちゃん。
Just then, the world shifted again. Did we save her this time? Are we gonna actually wake up? That would be nice. Next thing I knew, I was alone and surrounded in darkness. The wounds on my hands and legs were gone, and I was the way I had been when I first came to the stream. I felt my face for my glasses, only realized they weren't there and that I was still dreaming.
なんかうまくいかないわね。
Saki's footsteps echoed as she walked towards me.
ね、兄さん。
Oh, what the heck? What's up with your outfit change? You got like... Are those supposed to be rabbit ears? Are those supposed to be fox ears? I'm going to assume fox, because I feel like you got the whole kimono type thing going on. You have a cute little like pendant you're wearing around your neck. That's certainly a different outfit. I mean, I like this one a lot better than her school uniform, I'll say that. There was forced smile on her face. The Saki before me understood everything that happened up until now. It wasn't just because of the dream. I had known Saki for a long time, so I was confident in the fact that I largely understood her. I'm sorry, it's my fault they don't work out. Oh boy, don't like seeing these what would you say, these waves of smell in the air? I mean, I guess it's because I don't think it's smoke, right? Like, it's supposed to be like an aroma of sorts. Saki came closer. The sweet smell of what Alice had called nightmare roses grew stronger. It's because that's how I wanted it. The reason Saki was my sister, the reason I dearly wished for her to be my little sister, and the reason I couldn't actually make a move on her was all because this was what I wanted, and Saki just went along with it. Saki awkwardly changed her bemused smile to a bashful one. A sweet scent emanated from her. On her chest was a single rose with red and white petals. It hadn't turned bright red not because her wish hadn't come true, but because I had refused her. She seemed to notice I was looking at her chest, and she pulled back, looking a little embarrassed. If you're gonna destroy it, do it with your own hands while looking her in the eyes. I was forced to remember Maya's
あ
words.
んなの嘘。望んでなんてない。って言ったら、兄さん、信じる？
I definitely think if he is going to enter into a relationship with her, that's not how he would have wanted it to happen. He'd want it to happen in reality, not in this fake dream world. I want to believe it, but I can't believe what I know isn't true. While it wouldn't be convenient, there was a limit to how much I could fool myself.
そう。だったら、どうするの？
Saki giggled with her usual tone and attitude, like she wasn't thinking of me as someone older than
恥ず
her.
かしいことを知られてしまった妹を慰めてくれる？私の好きな甘いものを食べに行って恋人みたいにはしゃいで。どうせ慰めるなら抱いてほしいかしら。そうすれば いろいろけじめはつけられるから。それが最初の一度でも最後の一度でもどっちでもいいわよ。ね、兄さん。
I don't know. Is she gonna truly accept that they're not gonna be together, at least at this moment? Saki giggled disdainfully. I went to Saki's side and hugged her gently. You don't have to talk like that. Saki was trembling. I could tell before I even hugged her, before I even saw her. Up close, I could see that there were tears in her eyes, though that too I would have known even if I couldn't see her. Sorry for making you say that. I'm a mess, aren't I?
そうよ。
Though she acted tough, she was hunched over and clearly crestfallen. She had put her hands to her chest in a manner in which she could push me away at any time. I slowed my breathing. I prepared myself to give Saki the answer she didn't want to hear. I'm sorry, Saki, I can't do it after all. If I return to my original relationship with you now, I'm not sure if I'll be able to get out of here. Saki looked away from me without saying anything. I wanted to say I'm okay. You don't have to be my little sister anymore. I thought I could say it. When Saki graduated from Annexed, I had planned to end this twisted relationship. But as I was now, I don't think I had the right to embrace her. This is why I wanted her to hear those words that showed just how useless I am. But Maya appeared again, so I'm probably hopeless. I might be like this for the rest of my life. I might just drag the past and Maya's shadow with me as a nightmare for the rest of my life. You can abandon me if you want, Saki. It must be hard for you to have such a troublesome childhood friend, too. If it's hard that you can stop being my sister and abandon me. I was the one who had continued to depend upon Saki's kindness. I couldn't ask for forgiveness so lightly. If she left, I wasn't sure it would be hopeless for me, but if Saki didn't mind, then that would have been fine, I thought.
兄さんは私が妹じゃないとまだ怖い？
Saki asked, still looking away from me. It is. I'm sure I won't be able to wake up again over something stupid. I did think it was pathetic. But if Alice hadn't come, I probably would have never have woken up again.
私に助けてほしい。
I knew I was the worst, but even so, I do. I don't know if this was because this was a dream or because I was talking to Saki, but I answered honestly without holding anything back. Saki gave me one of her usual exasperated sighs, although I hadn't heard it much in this dream. She undid her hands from in front of her chest and hugged me back.
ほんとしょうがないんだから。正直いろいろと頭にくるし納得もしてないけど、ここまで来て見捨てられるわけがないでしょ。
This is a really rough thing for her to do, because you have to understand from Saki's perspective, like, the one thing she wants is for them to be closer. She wants for there to be something more. And he's pretty much telling her, like, hey, I don't want anything more with you right now. I don't want to return your feelings, and you just kind of have to accept that. You don't have to keep being my little sister anymore, but, you know, like, we can't be together. He just doesn't feel right about that. I feel like that's a very hard thing for someone to accept, you know? At least that's what I'm getting from it.
年下の女に甘えて頼って本当にしょうがない兄さんなんだから。
I'm sorry.
本当に悪いわ。ただ甘えられるのはそんなに嫌いじゃないし。ねえ兄さん。
Lucky said this with a joking tone, but her eyes told me she was serious. I can't live without you. With that answer, Saki gave an irritated-looking smile, as though saying I really was hopeless.
最初に妹になるって言い出したのは私だものね。
She murmured in a voice I could barely
一つ
hear.
だけ言うことを聞いてくれたら許してあげる。
What is it? Saki blushed awkwardly.
夢の中だけでいいから起きたらしなくていいからそのキスしてほしいのよ。
I mean, I am understanding this, right? Like, they're not going to end up together here. That's pretty much what he's telling her. Am I, like, totally misinterpreting this? So you want a kiss. At least, like, a taste of what could be in reality. And then that'll be enough for you. Saki stared at me, stifling her embarrassment. I gently hugged her back, and I planted a small kiss on her forehead. Oh, he just gave her a kiss on the forehead. What? Wow. Really, really cucking her, aren't we? Next thing I knew, Saki and I were in that dream room again, sitting next to each other on the sofa. What the? Next to me, Saki was resting her head on my shoulder and sleeping, even though this was a dream.
起きた。
Gosh, we're back to freaking Chrono Clock, where they just appear on the screen all big. Oh, it just surprises me. Aw, you're awake. Oh gosh, we got Skyrim references now. When I looked up, Alice was startlingly close and looking down at us. What? It's you, Alice. Wait, how long were you like that? How long were you watching? You were watching, weren't you?
ごめん。はい。一通り見てました。
When I hurriedly pulled back from Alice, my shoulder moved and Saki's body slid onto my lap. Even though her head was now resting on my leg, she still didn't wake up. I was unsure as to whether I should wake Saki up or let her sleep, so instead I just pointed at Alice with my mouth
い
agape.
や、私だって見るつもりなかったんだって。だけど、見えるものは仕方ないじゃない？
Hey, yo, you were just gonna watch, huh? Alice seemed to feel guilty, but she still spoke lightheartedly, so I didn't know what to say to her.
それはそれとして、寝てるうちにサクッとやっちゃおうか。
Alice's hands were heart-shaped shears. She pressed them against the rose in Saki's chest. I wondered if it was really okay to cut it. The smell of the forest emanating from the rose was hard for me to bear, so I didn't stop her.
Off with his head なんてね。
What? You gonna cut off my head, huh? Better not. A sharp snap, the rose fell. The petals scattered from the fallen roses and melted into the air. Saki's breathing was still quiet and the smell of the forest was gone, so I felt relieved.
ひどいわ。あんなキスでごまかすなんて。サキちゃんが覚えてたら怒るんじゃないかしら。
I mean, I can't say Maya's wrong. I mean, she wanted a kiss. She wanted a taste of what could have been, you know, in, like, reality. But he did her dirty. And, I mean, Maya's not wrong. The cup and saucer in hand, Maya was sipping out of her tea a little ways from us.
君、こんなところにのこのこと。
Alice looked like she was going to leap at Maya, but I held up my hand to stop her. Alice seemed reluctant, but she stepped back. If she is, then I'll let her get mad at me.
ほんとひどい。だけど、サキちゃんがそれでいいっていうのなら、私も許してあげるわ。
Hey, I remember that bad ending we just had not too long ago, okay? I remember you implanted your face. I know what you did. Maya
だ
giggled.
けど、まさか、このままでいいなんて思ってないでしょ？
I want to know, though, because this is all dreams, is it possible that all these different scenarios can actually be happening? Because if you think about it, if they're all dreams, they're all what-ifs, right? Like, through dreams, you can experience that. Like, you can have all those different things and then still go down, like, a certain path. I don't know if this makes sense. But I'm saying, like, what if everything is essentially canon? Because they're all dreams. They're all what-ifs. I don't know, though. I don't think that's what they're going to do with it, but that would be interesting. Just kind of have, like, a timeline of everything happening. They're just kind of what-ifs, and I guess there's, like, a canon what-if, you know? Because it's all dreams, right? Like, they're not actually happening. I know. Feeling Saki's weight on my lap, I acknowledged that there wasn't a quick fix.
わかってるね。だけど理解していてもできるわけじゃないものね。
I guess where I was going with that is it would be interesting if she, if we had done, like, the bad ending, if she references the bad ending, at some point. I think that would be, like, a moment, you know? I knew that too, but I also knew that Maya knew I knew. She was purposely trying to tease me. Alice seemed to have had enough and started walking towards Maya. She put herself between Maya and me, folded her arms, and glared at her. Maya looked surprised. Wow, very intimidating.
人の嫌がることをわざわざ言わない。トールもサキちゃんも人がいいから許しちゃうみたいだけど、それに甘えないの。
Saki pointed at Maya with the hand that wasn't holding the
人
shears.
の良さに甘えるのは誰かしらね。
For a moment, I felt as though I had caught a glimpse of Maya's actual emotions. Alice had struck a chord.
何よそれ。
Alice looked puzzled, but Maya immediately changed her expression.
さきちゃんの言う覚悟でも何でも決めたらどんな形でもちゃんと言いなさいね。さきちゃんもそうしてほしいって思ってるからね、兄さん。
And with that, Maya took her leave. She spun around, the world spun with her until both had disappeared. So real quick, before I click away and then she disappears, if we notice, she has a rose on her chest too, just kind of like we talked about Saki having, and we cut that off, right? Is it entirely possible? Is Maya like essentially controlling a lot of the stuff that's going on, or is she kind of in a way living her own dream, right? Like, so Saki had the rose because it needed to bloom, right? You know, if she had given in and we had given into the dream, then it would have gone like bright red, right? Like hers looks more like a kind of muted red, like it's like she's living in the dream world and she's experiencing her dream right now, but it hasn't had her wish fulfilled yet. Is that kind of what's going on? Because it makes me wonder, is Maya doing this on purpose, or is she doing this as part of her dream to kind of fulfill her biggest dream, right? If that makes sense, because you know she got lost in the forest and she kind of like fell away. Maybe some stuff happened to her. Maybe she's. I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe she's being manipulated too. Because right now they kind of placed her as the manipulator. I'm wondering if she's just another manipulated person who is kind of acting out the will of whatever is manipulating people into trying to like stay in this dreamlike state. Hopefully some of that made sense. She spun around, the world spun around with her until both had disappeared. This was the end of that dream. Or at the end of the dream. Sunlight spilling through the curtains shined through my eyelids. Under that glare, I woke up. This is my apartment, isn't it? I do like how they made the distinction of being able to tell if you're in a dream or not by like seeing all the greenery around you, right? Seeing like the flowers and the grass. I really like how they did that. So you can kind of tell like, oh, this is a dreamlike state that's trying to emulate reality. Grabbed my glasses from the bedside and put them on. The view through the lenses was my normal apartment, not a single strange plant in sight. But there still seemed to be lingering effects from the dream because my body was heavy and wouldn't move the way I wanted. Okay. Fucking remember, she had been using my arm as a pillow the whole night. Oh yeah, you stayed the night. I had completely forgotten about with all that just happened. Of course, this mission made it hard for me to move. Far from being just a pillow, Saki was clinging onto me pretty hard. Being this close to her, I suddenly smelled the lingering smell of her shampoo. Everyone's always smelling each other in this. And not that, that of the nightmare flowers. I finally felt that this wasn't a dream. I found myself hugging her back and buried my face in her hair. There was a hint of sweat in Saki's scent. Hold still and let me smell you, woman. I was startled by Saki's voice. I hurriedly leaned back as Saki looked up at me from my chest. I suddenly remembered the expression she had on when I was leaning over her in bed, and my face turned red. But Saki didn't get mad. She calmly hugged me tight. Saki? Wow, strange coincidence. I was surprised at those words. Saki seemed to be worried about something different than me as she hugged me tightly. What kind of dream was it? I timidly asked. Saki shook her head slightly. You were having a dream within a dream. Oh gosh, now we're really getting into Inception. Saki suddenly dug her nails into my back. Ow, Saki? Me? No, I would never, Saki. I would never say anything mean or bad to you. Yeah, it was all just a dream, of course. Put her arms around my back again, this time gently and awkwardly. Well, it was a dream, so there was no denying that. However, Saki had the same dream as me. With Saki hugging me, I could feel the softness of her body, sensation of her chest, and the smell of her hair. I didn't feel at all aroused by it. My throat tightened. I felt like someone had splashed cold water on me. It was a dream, but I felt an uncomfortable feeling like I had just swallowed an unknown object. What was the sensation? It had to be a dream. Why was this happening?
兄さんどうしたの？
Saki looked up at me, apparently worried about how I was acting. Maybe it wasn't just Saki and me. Maybe Alice had been somewhere having the same dream too. If that was true, Saki, I had the same dream. At those words, Saki stiffened. I'm sure it was the same dream. You might not remember the whole thing, but I do.
そうなんだ。兄さんはちゃんと覚えてるのね。
Drinking tea in a weird place with Maya and Saki showing up. If that was the same dream, if everyone having it really existed,
あの
then
夢を兄さんも見ていたのよね。だったら
it was as though she was talking about a fantasy story.
だったらあそこにいたマーヤちゃんももしかしたら同じ夢を見ていたのかしら。
That's what I'm wondering too, because like I said, with her being kind of the manipulator, I think she's just another person that's being possibly manipulated by these dreams, right? I wonder if she's just kind of there, and that's kind of how she's, I don't know, she's getting back at us. I don't know. I don't know how I'd want to word that. That's probably not the right way. I don't know, maybe some other force got to her and has kind of whittled down her mind, because apparently she didn't make it out of the forest. And I just want to know about the stupid forest, okay? I'm sure that's like the big plot point, because that's probably why these dreams are happening. Something happened in that forest, right? Or there is something in that forest that's continuing to haunt us to this day, and has a hold of Maya. And just, we're not going to get answers anytime soon, and it's just confusing because it would help make sense for everything else, but then that would probably be the big plot point, and I can't know that yet. It's also frustrating, guys. Not just Saki and me. Somewhere had Maya been having the same dream too. No way. Even as I said this, somewhere in my heart I wanted it to be true. So in their minds, they're debating if Maya is even alive right now, because he said himself that she didn't make it out of the forest, so he just presumes they're dead, I would assume. But what if she's still alive, she's still having these dreams, and is trying to connect with us? Let's just say that. That's a pretty neutral way of saying it. She's trying to reconnect with us. Even as I said this, somewhere in my heart I wanted it to be true. It's a very interesting game. I'll certainly say that. It's been quite a complicated ride. I'm really trying to piece together things and kind of what happened to Maya and why she's kind of wanting us to give in to our dreams. Is it really just a desire to be with us? And if she keeps us in the dream world, she'll always be able to connect to us? Or is there more malicious purposes behind it? Is she being manipulated? I have no idea. From a place both near and far away, there was a figure watching those two. She sneered and giggled gleefully.
さてどうかしら。
Of course, Maya's voice didn't reach the other two. She was spying on them one-sidedly. Here there was no trace of the nightmare flower's scent, only the smell of the dense forest wafted in the
私
air.
もどこかから同じ夢を見ているのかしら。私が持ってるここ以外の記憶は全部3人で過ごした時のものだけだもの。
Interesting. She's still wearing the rose too. I don't know if that's just a part of her outfit. I was just kind of making a guess that it has something to do with the rose that Saki had on her chest too, right? Is this her awake then? This isn't in the dream world?
だったら2人に会うまでの私は一体どこで何をしていたのかしら。その答えを教えてくれる人はいるのかしら。
It's definitely not me. I have no idea. Did anyone hear her laughing? That was creepy. Because, like, she had already read her voice line, and then there was a laugh after that. That is not said in her voice line. Very creepy. Don't like that. The only memories I have besides those of here are memories of the time the three of us spent together. Interesting. So she's saying she doesn't have memories of her childhood. I don't have the answer to that. I really don't. In the dark room, Maya's emotionless giggle echoed and disappeared. Yeah, the way it did that was so creepy. I was like, oh, nope, don't like that. Hapymaher interlude. Okay. Guess we're getting a little in between things. As soon as I fell asleep, I was here again. Before I could realize what was happening, I was in the dream room. I couldn't remember how I got here, so it was more convenient for me to simply accept that this was a dream, and that's just how dreams work. Maya and I were sitting across from each other at a table prepared for a tea party between us. Quite displeased, I sat down and drank my black tea. Maya sat on the sofa with her elbows on the table and praised me with her eyes. I don't know. I don't think I've ever had black tea. I've only had like green and herbal. It's good. I answered apathetically, but Maya grinned, seemingly satisfied. Her eyes and mouth were like thin crescent moons. It was definitely not a cute way for a girl to smile, but it was Maya, so there was no helping it. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not cute, but it's certainly creepy. Too late, I'm always like this. Ever since I started dreaming like this, I've had this expression for a while after a nightmare. At least I don't think I normally smiled that much. Saki was getting mad at me for knitting my brows. Not really, even without you, I'm getting by somehow. Yeah, that is what I think. Didn't tend to get irritated when she said things like this so confidently. Maya had always been like this. Anyways, what was that dream Oh, okay, you got closer. That dream I had with Saki, I was about to say when Maya leaned over the table and silenced me. All she did was hold her finger to my lips, but I couldn't say anything more. Why are you being so selfish? Okay, what did you want to talk about then? Maya got down from the table and onto my lap. Ooh, okay. Call me Santa. She sat down such that it looked like I was holding a child in my lap, even though Maya wasn't anything like a small child. Yeah, she kind of looks like one. I mean, let's not deny that here. Her body was light, much too light for her size, so I could tell that this was a dream and that this Maya wasn't the real one. Of course, we haven't seen each other. If everything had happened as I planned, we would have been reunited. Okay, we can talk, as long as that's all it is. As long as you're not gonna pull me into some weird dream. Oh, frick. Hold up. I don't know which one I'm supposed to select. I'm gonna have to look at my little guide real quick. You could say I do or I don't. I feel like if I say I don't, that's gonna like go end up with her. But if I say that I do, maybe then I'll end up with somebody else. I have no idea. Give me a second. Okay, so I was right in saying that if I don't, that's leaning more towards Maya. So we're gonna say that I do have someone I'm interested in. You could say I do. I put on a relieved expression, at least that's what it looked like to me. I feel like you're bullshitting me right now, but let's continue. What's that supposed to mean? Maya ran her hand along my cheek. I could almost feel goosebumps in the back of my neck. That was partly your fault. Maya had always had a shrewd personality, so people avoided us. It was usually just us three. It wasn't quite bullying. Maya was very clever for her age, so I think her classmates were scared of her. I mean, I could see why. She's a pretty scary person. There's a time when she would bully Saki, but Saki was more resilient than most. More importantly, apparently Maya had traumatized some kid who tried to bully Saki, so... Partly because of that, it was just the three of us most of the time. You really do just sow seeds of misery into everyone around you, don't you? I don't know if I necessarily believe that. You seem like a very toxic person. That's even worse.
それで誰？その気になってるのって私の知ってる子かしら？
Is she someone you know? Maya seemed not to pay any attention to my reply. As usual, she took everything in stride. You know her or you don't know her? I'm gonna say you don't know her.
知らない相手？へえ、そうなの。
After a moment of surprise, Maya regained her composure and smiled at me. What, are you going to grill me about her?
いいえ、まさかサキちゃん以外にちゃんとそんな風に思える相手がいたなんてと思って。
Well, Saki's definitely not the best girl in this game, I can tell you that. I thought of Club Prez's face. Actually, it was impossible to not be interested in her. Because of the contrast between her appearance, her true self, and who she pretended to be, one couldn't help but remember her. Hey, what do you mean by other than
言った
Saki?
ままの意味よ。もうずっと私とサキちゃんから逃げられないと思ってたもの。
Oh, I'm trying to get the hell away from you both.
今でも捕まったままかしら。なのに他の女の人が気になるなんてね。
Hey, don't be laughing like that. Maya landed a step away from me. She looked so fragile as she stood there. It was as though she would slide away if you pushed
そ
her.
れでそのお姉さんのどこが気になるの？美人だから？スタイルがいいから？ 金髪だから？
That does sound kind of like her. Hey, how'd you know who I was
な
imagining?
んでもないわ。ずっと一緒だったんだもの。何でも見てきたし、何でも知ってるわ。だからどうしてそのお姉さんが2人の時は猫をかぶってないのか、その理由も知ってるし、時々エッチな冗談を言われてもやもやしてるのも知ってるわ。
Possibly. How did you know? Maya giggled as though she was enjoying a fun, innocent conversation. I made a bitter face at how difficult she was being. I was sure she probably enjoyed that
そ
too.
うね。それを望んでるなら、それを叶えてあげるのが私の役目かしら。
No? Grant, what are you planning to
分
do?
かってるくせに。大丈夫。夢の中で男の人が一人で楽しんでるようなこととは違うから。
Wait, Maya, don't just act
だ
on
った
your
ら
own.
1から10までこうしてほしいって全部指図してくれる？そうしたら全部その通りにしてあげるわ。
You know, after I saw what happened in the bad ending, I don't trust you, Maya. I know exactly what happens when you do that. You just kind of insert yourself as this other person. It was kind of messed up. Not what I
分
meant.
かってるわ。でも大丈夫よ。私が何かしなくても勝手にそうなってしまうんだもの。
What do you mean?
私は夢を作り出せないの。だから全部望み通り夢に見るままに任せるだけなのよ。
All of a sudden, Maya was standing behind me. She ran her hands up the back of my head, brushing me along the way. Unpleasant goosebumps broke out across my
だから
skin.
その夢は叶えてあげるわ。どんな夢でもね。
Don't trust you. Maya. When I turned around, Maya was already standing out of my reach.
ほら言ってちょうだい。その部長さんにエッチなことをしたいって。それとも
She giggled at me with eyes that seemed to be testing me.
私に早く消えろ。そう言ってくれてもいいのよ。
When she said that, what did I do? I didn't even get a choice. I got thrown into a different world.
大丈夫？
Oh no. Are we in a dream? I don't see any flowers. Are we okay? At the sound of Club Prez's voice, I came to my senses. It was club time after school, and I had been thinking about the dream I had this
どうした
morning.
の？
Okay, good. We're in
ぼー
reality.
っとしてることが多いみたいだけど。
He's facing out a lot lately. Yeah, I do. Club Press came in, closing the door between the preparation room and the science room. On the other side of the door, I could hear the voices of fellow club members. Is it okay just to leave them? Shook my head slowly. It seemed that I had nodded off a
いい
little.
のよ。カブトくんがまた勝手に変なパーツ作って敷島くんに怒られて揉めてるだけだから。
Strange part. Strange part to what? Oh, again. The guy wanted to make the robot's arms fly out and call it a rocket punch. Ah, okay. I just watched that Michael Reeves video of him like trying to learn boxing before he did the Crater Clash. He literally made IRL rock sock'em robots with people. It was pretty funny. Plus, he was good at making his new add-ons when I wasn't looking. The other day, he used compressed gas and made a rocket punch that was strong enough to punch through cardboard. There you go. That's pretty cool. Of course, I found out and dismantled it. But if the school had heard about it, then it could have been a problem. Wish they'd show some sympathy for me since I'm the one drawing up the
私と
diagrams.
敷島くんが卒業したらカブトくんとトールが最上級生ね。頑張って。
Thanks. I like the vote of confidence there. Leprez handed me some instant coffee. I thanked her and took it. The bitter taste filled my mouth and cleared my head. You sure are treating it like someone else's
ね
problem.
え、人事だもの。
You got a point. Leprez said nonchalantly she was showing her true self. Just from behind the door, we could still hear Vice Club President Chikishima lecturing about something, and another voice objecting to that. We were making a robot as a graduation project. I took a break from drawing the diagrams for the parts above my eyes from beneath my glasses.
こうしてると完全にメガネキャラのくせにそのメガネって度が入ってないのよね。
Gosh. Like a few years ago, I met someone that actually just wears glasses just for the looks. Like they're not even like prescription or anything. They're just, I don't know, they're just lenses, right? I was like, what the heck? I totally thought he just wore glasses. He looked like the kind of person who would wear glasses. Just like Toru, right? Like you would think they would, but they don't. And he just wears fake glasses. I was like, what is this? This is a thing? People just wear glasses to look like they wear glasses. It does make you look smarter, though. I'll say that. He looked a lot smarter, and then once I found out he doesn't actually need them, he looked a lot more dumb. I'm just kidding. Don't let him hear that. Got it like a charm to me. Leprez knew that my glasses were just for show, but I hadn't told her why I wore them. It worried me not to have my glasses. That was all I told her. How much she understood or imagined from that was anyone's
し
guess.
かし、うちって本当に科学部なのかしら。やってること工学部よね。
Yeah, even though it's not like we're a technical school, we're always just making robots. I mean, that's cool. I mean, if that's what you do, I mean, I don't think the school would have a problem with that. Engineering was the application of science. It wasn't like we were building this from a store-bought robot kit where we wrote the movement programs ourselves. But it was enough to be recognized by the school as a legitimate club activity, so there wasn't a problem. Yeah, I mean, that's normal school stuff.
私はもっと薬品実験とかの方が好きなのに。
We do that too, don't we? Club Perez was fond of medicines and chemicals, and no, she wasn't interested in illegal drugs. That was because...
やばい薬でまずいことになるなんて当たり前すぎるでしょ。つまんないわ。
I mean, also, you're in school. I mean, you don't really need to be doing drugs. I feel like that's just going to hamper your experience. I felt like something scary would happen if I argued with that logic, so I decided I wouldn't get into it. Perez did toy with chemicals on her own at times, but she also helped with the robots. She did it because she could. That's really what it came down
でき
to.
る女は頼られて辛いわ。
Although, you're no good when it comes to physical exertion.
胸が重いのよ。
Okay. Not what I was expecting you to say, but sure. I mean, that I've heard it makes running harder, and I could imagine why. She folded her arms and lifted her chest up. She does that a lot. Can you not? Stop trying to show off your assets. Can't believe you can't swim even though you have floaters like those. Wow. She's got a built-in life vest. I replied, trying to pay as little attention to them as I could, though if I really wanted to look, she'd hold it over my head if I did.
じゃあ、この浮き袋もどう使えばいいのか、トールが手取り足取り泳ぎ方を教えてくれる？
Booyah. Do it, Toru. Do it. Be a man. Unamused at the lack of response from me, she put her hands on the desk and leaned towards me. With little help from gravity, she accentuated her bust even more before my eyes. Is it possible there are strange rumors because you're saying things like that to people other than me? I desperately tried to hide my inner turmoil as I sipped my coffee. Self-restraint won out in the end. Club Prez stood up and then sat on the edge of the
ま
table.
さか、トール以外にこんな話してないわよ。まあ、変な噂は立ってるけど、それも美人の宿命よね。
Wow, someone is really into themselves. With a laugh, Club Prez brushed back her hair. Mixed with the smell of coffee, I got a pleasant whiff of shampoo. Why do we always smell every girl's hair? Why? Why do we have to mention that? Like, okay, they use shampoo and it smells good. That's what most people do. Most people buy what they like to smell. It's not strange. Felt bothered by how this made me a little happy. Well, you certainly do stand out. She had a striking appearance, and on the surface she was an exceptional honors student. Even if it couldn't be helped that she was no good at sports, her grades were excellent, and she was an amiable person. Last year, she had even been nominated as the student council president. She had quickly declined, but there were those who still hoped for it. On the other hand, because of how she looked, rumors swirled around her.
誰が逆ハーレムで愛人囲ってるだの、囲われてるだの、アメリカでも UK でもすごかっただの、本場仕込みだな。
Wow, those are some crazy rumors.
一体何が本場なのかしら。エロスは日本の方がよっぽどだっていうのにね。
Yeah, they are. I mean, I feel like everywhere in any country, you're gonna find some dirty stuff, but Japan certainly does have some interesting media, that's for sure. She sighed in resignation. Basically, the rumors were that, contrary to outer appearances, she was actually sleeping around all over the place. Don't you think that maybe stupid rumors like that are still around because you don't deny them?
きちんとしてるわよ。だけど、抜きになって否定したら逆に面白がられるし、仕方ないじゃない。
I know, it's kind of mean that people do that to her. They kind of put her in a bad spot. What if it was because she didn't deny the rumors that they had remained? Well, it's true that people do have this sort of mental image of beautiful blondes.
トールにしみじみ言われると、なんかこう、普段相手にされてない女のプライド的にモヤモヤするんだけど、何かしらこれ。殺意？
I don't think that, so please don't get the wrong idea.
まあ、噂は所詮噂なんだし、根も葉もないんだからほっとけばいいのよ。
I mean, I think in a way that's probably the best response. Don't feed the fire, because if you feed the fire, more rumors start popping up. Oh, so it's not that one, so it must be this one. Or they'll say, oh, she's just covering up, you know, because it is true, right? On hearing those words from Club Prez, I felt a small prick of pain in my chest.
まさか、トールも私のことを疑ってたり、そんな目で見てるんじゃないでしょうね。
Oh, can you imagine if we just say, yeah, I think there might be some truth to them? No, I just feel sort of bad being part of the rumors and all.
断れ？何よそれ。
The two of us sometimes or always actually eat lunch, you're right. That started some rumors too. That's right, the question of what are they doing in the science room during lunch with no one around. Apparently this was the first club president heard of it, so she gave me a profound, wry smile that was difficult to interpret. Then she put her hand on my shoulder.
シスコンの次は私とセックスしてるだなんて。トール、いつか夜道を歩いてたら嫉妬で刺されるわよ。
Thanks. That instills confidence. Well, Prez, what kind of response is that from a girl? Also, with those two rumors, I don't think people will think they're about the same
そう
person.
かしら。だとしても、まさか私の美人勢にトールまで巻き込んでいったなんて。
So into yourself, huh? Okay. I wonder if the fact that everyone was together for 6 years in the school helped make it a breeding ground for things like that. I shifted my thoughts from the topic at
トール
hand.
は私の噂、どこまで信じた？
From the beginning, I've never thought of you as a loose woman in the least. Seeing her true self did nothing to change that thought. It didn't matter that she stood out or was half Japanese. She was just a student, same as us, only 1 year older. So the rumors just struck me as really bizarre.
なんかその余裕がムカつくわね。
I'm literally trying to defend you right now. Don't tell me that I'm pissing you off. You tyrant. I said that I believed you.
実はトールって周りがそう言うから一緒に行ってるだけで、私のこと美人とか派手とかキュニャーとかそんなに思ってないでしょ。
I think you're pretty. I do think you stand out, and your boobs are huge. I do think that. Okay, Toru, you are being the leash Chad MC right now. Don't stutter like that. Be more confident in yourself. Even though I said that, Club Press, still smiling, slid herself closer to me and looked down on me.
本当に？例えば私とセックスできるって言ったら喜ぶ？あ、愛情とか抜きにして娯楽として。
If he says no, he's lying. I can enjoy it just without strings attached to him, of course. Okay, good. He's embracing it. Not that circumstances like that were actually possible, of course.
なんでそんなに余裕があんのかしら。
Because he doesn't think that would ever actually happen. I don't know. I was used to troublesome things happening in my dreams, but this wasn't the person to say that to. Normally, I think she would say that's not the same thing, but my lucid dreams are incredibly realistic. Yeah, that's understating it. Maybe that was wearing down my mind somehow. I shook off the ominous hypothesis that popped into my head.
噂になってるならセックスしてみる？どうせ周りからの扱い変わんないでしょうし。
Wow. Okay. That's certainly an option. that is that is something you could do. Not something I thought you would say, but sure. What they will treat us differently, very differently. I knew that Club Prez was just teasing me, but I couldn't help but panic.
お互い後腐れなくていいって言っても二人で黙ってれば他に誰が知るわけでもなし。
Is this gonna turn into like that movie? What is it called? With is her name Emma Stone? It's Easy A, where they talk about doing it. Like they don't actually do it, but like they spread the rumor that they essentially did it. Like they kind of make it look like they did, but they didn't actually. Even if we don't have to do it again, if neither of us knows anything, then no one else has to know. This was more persistent than her usual dirty jokes, which made me think. I and Saki recently had various things happen to us recently, but had something happen to Club Prez. They didn't have the luxury of noticing anything like that anymore. Then suddenly,
部長内藤先輩いい加減出てきてください
oh thank goodness we get to get out of this conversation.
止めてくださいよ
And our pleading underclassmen screamed. The tension unraveled all at once. We looked at each other. Club Prez, you need to go.
しょうがないわね。誰も行くのよ。
Okay, fine. Guess I have no choice. This wasn't the first time Club Prez had been so insistent with her teasing. It was rare for her to say things like that. As usual, I tried to hide the fact that my heart was racing and was desperately trying to keep my mind under control. With her lab cloak flapping behind her, Club Prez got down from the desk and made her way out of the preparation room. I followed behind her. Alright, let's see what these idiots are doing out here. Messing around. Chapter 3, Getting Entangled. That sounds interesting. What are we getting entangled into, huh?
いつだったか気楽に生きていたいって言ったじゃない。ほんと不器用よね。できないことをしたいだなんて。無理なんでしょ。気楽に過ごすなんて。本当に口ばっかり。気楽に生きるための努力で神経すり減らしてたんじゃたまったもんじゃないわ。それのどこが気楽な生き方よ。だけどそうしなければならない。誰に言われたわけでもなく、自分がそうしているのが楽だから。ええ、そうね。わかってる。ねえ、私たちってもしかして似てるのかしら。それとも全然似てないのかしら。
Interesting dialogue. I could definitely say I felt like that before too. Like where you kind of purposely make the conscious decision to put less effort into things and care maybe less about them. And in some ways that makes your life supposedly easier, right? Like when you don't like poke the bear, you don't have to deal with the bear, right? But on the other hand, it's like if you were willing to put more effort into things and had more consistency with them, maybe you wouldn't have to deal with them as much in the first place. It's kind of like facing something head on that's been bothering you or something that you don't like dealing with. If you face it head on, you can kind of get rid of it. You can kind of learn to deal with it and be kind of doesn't become a problem. And I feel like when you have that kind of carefree attitude, it's kind of like you're just living in ignorance is bliss kind of deal. I'm not sure if that's exactly how y'all would interpret it, but that's kind of what I got from it. I have that kind of mindset towards certain things in life sometimes. And yeah, it's like sometimes you could put more effort into something, and if you do, it'll actually make it easier than if you just kind of are carefree about it. Can sometimes create more difficulties for you trying to like push something aside instead of just facing it. Again, I found myself in this room as I fell asleep. All right, guys, I'm gonna end it here. I just want to get off the white screen because it's really blinding, but we're gonna end it here. I think this is a good stopping point. I'm excited to see her route. I feel like we're pretty close to her as far as like in school. I guess she would be kind of the natural person we'd gravitate towards outside of like Saki or Maya. And then I don't think Alice is in our school. And I think there's supposed to be another girl that we meet too. So I don't know. I guess Yayoi would just be the most obvious choice for us to go after as far as someone who's just kind of outside of our circle. Yeah. I'm going to leave the rest for the next episode, and I hope to see you guys then. Have a good one.